We are all storytellers, whether we realize it or not. From the moment we develop consciousness, we begin constructing a personal myth, a narrative that gives meaning to our experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Carl Jung believed that these personal myths shape not only how we see ourselves, but also how we interact with the world. We are the protagonists in our own hero's journey, much like the ones Joseph Campbell described. But here's the catch. Most people don't consciously create their life trajectory. They unknowingly follow a script they never questioned. Think about it. What story do you tell yourself about who you are? Are you the unlucky one, the misunderstood genius, the hard worker who never gets a break? These mental blueprints influence your perception of reality, reinforcing what you already believe through confirmation bias. If you see yourself as a victim, life will continue to reflect that narrative back at you. If you view yourself as someone destined for transformation and personal growth, your choices will align with that vision. The power of meaning-making isn't just philosophical. It's psychological, shaping your behaviors, emotions, and even opportunities. So, how do you rewrite your narrative identity? First, recognize the current script you're following. Take a moment to write down the core beliefs that define your story. Then ask, is this narrative serving me, or is it limiting me? This is where self-inquiry becomes a tool for liberation. Instead of passively accepting an outdated identity, you can choose a new one that aligns with self-awareness, personal freedom, and individuation. But to do this, you must first uncover the unconscious beliefs that are shaping your reality. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. The role of unconscious beliefs in shaping reality. Your unconscious mind is scripting your life whether you realize it or not. Carl Jung believed that what remains unconscious will continue to direct your actions until you make it conscious. This means that much of what you experience is not random. It's a reflection of your internal narratives, limiting beliefs, and projections. If you believe deep down that you're not worthy of success, you'll subconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you've been conditioned to see relationships as painful, you'll unknowingly attract the same emotional patterns over and over. Your perception of reality is shaped by the mental blueprints you've absorbed since childhood. This is where confirmation bias comes into play. Your mind actively seeks evidence to support what you already believe, even if those beliefs are holding you back. If you think the world is unfair, you'll notice every injustice and overlook moments of generosity. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, your brain will filter out signs of progress. These self-fulfilling prophecies create a psychological prison, reinforcing an identity that may not even be true anymore. The only way to break free is through self-inquiry, questioning the assumptions that have been guiding your life without your permission. So, how do you begin rewriting your internal script? Start by tracking your most persistent thoughts. What do you repeatedly tell yourself about life, relationships, money, or success? Then, challenge those beliefs. Ask yourself, is this actually true, or is it just a story I've been telling myself? This is where narrative therapy and self-exploration become powerful tools. When you change the story you tell yourself, you change what you're capable of experiencing. And breaking free from these automatic patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your personal freedom, which is exactly what we'll explore next. Breaking free from automatic patterns. Most people don't make decisions. They run on autopilot. Their unconscious beliefs, past experiences, and ingrained narratives dictate their actions without them realizing it. Carl Jung called this the power of the unconscious mind, which operates behind the scenes, keeping you stuck in repetitive loops of behavior. If you've ever wondered why you keep making the same mistakes, attracting the same kinds of relationships, or facing the same obstacles, the answer is simple. You're living out a self-fulfilling prophecy. Until you bring these automatic patterns into awareness, they will continue to control you. The good news? You're not trapped. You're programmed. And like any program, your internal scripts can be rewritten. The first step is to notice where these unconscious loops appear. Do you constantly procrastinate? Do you sabotage relationships the moment they get too close? Do you avoid opportunities that could lead to growth? These are not just random behaviors. They are the result of deep-seated mental blueprints that need to be confronted. The moment you recognize a limiting belief, you weaken its hold over you. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks the cage. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need action. This is where reframing becomes a powerful tool. Instead of saying, "I always fail at this," ask, "What lesson is life trying to teach me?" Instead of thinking, "I can't change," shift to, "What's one small step I can take today?" Breaking free from automatic patterns is like stepping off a well-worn path and forging a new one. It feels uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is a sign of growth. And if you really want to break out of old narratives, look no further than the hero's journey, a universal framework for self-discovery and transformation, which is exactly what we'll explore next. The hero's journey is a metaphor for self-discovery. Every great story follows a pattern: the call to adventure, the trials and obstacles, the transformation, and the return home. Joseph Campbell called this the hero's journey, a universal narrative found in myths, religions, and personal transformation. Carl Jung saw this journey as a reflection of individuation, the process of integrating the ego, unconscious mind, and inner wisdom to become whole. Whether you realize it or not, you are on your own hero's journey, moving through cycles of growth, loss, and discovery. The question is, are you the conscious author of your story, or are you just playing a role you never chose? The journey begins when you hear the call to change, a deep, unsettling feeling that life, as you know, it isn't enough. Maybe it's a failed relationship, a career dissatisfaction, or a crisis that forces you to question everything. At this stage, most people resist. They fear the unknown, cling to limiting beliefs, and stay within the comfort of their old narrative identity. But those who embrace the call step into the unknown, facing their psychological growth head-on. The obstacles they encounter aren't just external. They are projections of their inner struggles, tests designed to help them break free from the past. Every hero must eventually face their shadow, the hidden fears, self-doubts, and unconscious wounds that dictate their decisions. This is the turning point, where the old self dies and a new self emerges. And just like in myths, the hero doesn't just change for themselves. They return with newfound wisdom, clarity, and transformation that impacts the world around them. The same applies to you. Your story isn't just about your personal growth. It's about how your self-discovery allows you to live with greater meaning and personal freedom. But to truly transform, you must first become aware of your own narrative, which leads us to the final step, using narrative awareness to reshape your destiny. Transforming life through narrative awareness. The most powerful shift you can make in life is realizing that you are the author of your own story. Most people move through life believing their narrative is set in stone, dictated by past experiences, family expectations, or societal conditioning. But Carl Jung and modern narrative therapy reveal that identity is fluid. It can be rewritten, reframed, and reshaped. The problem is, many people stay trapped in outdated scripts, unconsciously repeating self-fulfilling prophecies. True personal freedom comes when you stop living as a passive character and start consciously crafting your own myth-making process. This doesn't mean denying the past. It means reframing it. Instead of seeing failures as proof of inadequacy, see them as necessary chapters in your hero's journey. Instead of defining yourself by past wounds, recognize them as the trials that forged your inner strength. Your life trajectory is not fixed. It is shaped by the meaning-making process you apply to it. This is why self-inquiry is essential. Ask yourself, what kind of story have I been telling about my life? Is it one of limitation or transformation? The moment you shift your perspective, your entire world starts to change. So how do you apply narrative awareness to transform your life? First, identify the recurring themes in your personal story. Do you always cast yourself as the victim, the outsider, or the warrior? Then, ask yourself, what happens if I change this role? Journaling can be a powerful tool here. Write a new version of your life story, one where you take ownership, reframe challenges as stepping stones, and embrace psychological growth as your destiny. When you change your story, you change your reality. The only question left is, what kind of story do you want to live?